Greetings, everybody, on this beautiful second week of Advent. Wow, energies are interesting, escalating, fabulous, wonderful things are happening. But let us just jump in to lighting incense and just to set the space as sacred. As we dive briefly into the Plastic Goddess. Interesting dates come up around this space, but hey, let's just keep her reasonably simple and back in the 60s. We are not taking her too far. So we give thanks for the light and the unearthing and the truths that are coming on this planet, that we may heal ourselves. Hello, beautiful Krista. Yeah, so yeah, just so that we may heal our inner child and move on quickly, and our inner goddess, yeah, which has been a little distorted in the West. So much gratitude to everybody being here. Let's just open to the sacred goddesses, which are so many at the moment, and so much beautiful love and light around the planet. I hope you're feeling much better, Amia. Sending you lots of energy for your back. To all the sacred goddesses. Yeah. Dealing with Barbie today is like, Amia, did you have a Barbie doll? Yes or no? Happy to see you here too, my love. Yeah, it's Christmas time in Germany. Wow, energy time. I'm like really tired, so I just want to finish this off briefly. And I don't want people to get me wrong. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. How's the pain? Please try to be here on Wednesday. I'm having a beautiful discussion with Trista, and we're working on the chakras, which is your spine. So I think there might be a lot of useful stuff for you to work with, with your back. So hopefully, yeah. So the question was, did you have a Barbie? Yes or no? Barbie doll. Hey, Barbie doll. Okay, cool. Interesting. Yeah. I just like interesting people who played differently with Barbie doll. We weren't so programmed in South Africa until sort of the 80s. Kids got more programmed with them. But I'm not going to go down that road because that's just the feminists. I mean, Barbie's been like a huge thing of contention, and I'm just like talking about the origins of her and kind of how she vibrated in my life and what a doll signifies. Yeah, I like mine too. This was my best outfit. I loved they could dress her up exactly. And she was like quite different for me to what most people have. I was in South Africa, so we didn't have so much more. We didn't have television until 1975, and then only for an hour. I don't think there were even advertisements in the beginning for many years. And we only had like 2 hours of television for a while. So I've count myself really, that's my privileged childhood, that we listened to stories, yeah, and not to television, yeah. And we had to amuse ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the doll is just so, it's just such, but we'll go into that very briefly. It is, I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely huge, you know, it's an effigy, and I have a very strong base in Rudolf Steiner, where the dolls should have no features. Yeah. Um, I must actually look when the dolls really, I mean, people always had kind of rag dolls. Rag dolls were great. I don't personally, I don't like the Raggedy Ann and Andy. I find them terrifying. They like scary stuff. Um, yeah, I spent a lot of time drawing. But Barbie fulfilled her purpose. Happy to see you too, my love. Thank you for being here. In my life, which was the original thought of the woman who wanted Barbie. I mean, Barbie, as we went through last time, was actually found in Germany and then like remarketed exactly as she was, except she was made out of a different material. Um, but it was the 60s, well, it was the late 50s when Barbie was put out, and women were starting to be independent and breaking away from that, like barefooting in the kitchen, housewives, house mothers, especially in America. And she was about having choices and having a career, and I mean that's what she fulfilled in my life, and I think a lot of people at of my age had that. I mean, I was also quite shocked. Oh, Anya, that is so fantastic. I'm so pleased for you. Wow, like 5,000. That is just so exciting. Yeah, you must put some of your stuff up on the Discord channel. It would be really lovely to see. I have looked at some of your work. I just like, I've got a very different time zone, of course, being in Germany. So, and your life also carries on. So for the huge collective, I mean, Barbie also became this goddess because she just swept the nation hugely. Obviously, America had huge marketing and advertising, and as I think I did mention it before that my parents had friends who had two sons, and when I went to play with them, or they came over to our house, because I didn't have cars and trucks and trains, they brought their GI Joe, and I would take my Barbie to them, and we would play with our action figures. So, oh, I wonder what you just surprised me. You've been on my channel a bit. Would be awesome. I would love. Thank you. You're really talented and you're quick. Yeah, and obviously how the movies and television influences all of us so bigly. It's really quite tragic. So it's not tragic. It's just about making good choices, and it's one of the things I like to stand with. Is life is governed by the choices you make, and in order to make good choices, you have to know who you are and what you stand for. I added, that was Kofi Annan, and I added at the end, at that moment, because everybody, boys, male and female, take on so many different roles, especially women. Yeah, we're mother, we're wife, we're friend, we're sister, lover, business person. So, yeah, what is that important thing at that moment? Yeah. Thank you so much. And you're very special as well. It's very beautiful to have you in the family. So, and I think also when I was researching this, I was really just researching the origins of Barbie, that she did originally come from Germany. Oh, thank you so much, beautiful one. Um, um, and then I dipped into G.I. Joe. Obviously, I was like quite horrified. I think a lot of us were a little horrified how strongly this influenced, and most of the people that were on the show as audience were sort of a little bit older, and sort of a little bit younger than me, but pretty much still in that age group. Um, and it was also just really interesting. Barbie came out in America in 59, I think 58, 59. And where was I going? Oh yeah, then in the 60s, this Barbie came out. I haven't actually, I'm just because she's just perfect Marilyn. Um, but she didn't stay like this for long. Then she changed her persona a little bit, her features. So I think these are really high collective. And I'm not sure when Marilyn, who was also in a way the plastic goddess, she had been completely remolded um, as this plastic blonde bombshell. Now that really also took the nation by storm. But I think she passed, I can't remember if it was 64 or 67, somewhere there. And she left the planet. But let's just wow, where am I here? Let's just jump into quickly a little bit of the esoteric meaning of Barbie. So we had the feminists, and she's gone through a lot of like flack from so many people, exactly those things of the perfect body that she's impossible to uphold. But she did shape the Western world, America, South Africa, Australia, and Britain, and a little bit of Germany. I was talking to a few people here in Germany, and most of them played Barbie with horses or with animals. They didn't even know about Ken. And when I mentioned G.I. Joe, they didn't know who I was talking about. But then I remembered that Germany had a complete forbid, no weapons, no toys. No, especially after the war. There were absolutely no weapons. Still today, you can't buy the specialized shops you can, but you can't buy BB guns and things. And children are not allowed to have them. They're not allowed to have knives or bows and arrows or slingshots. They can, however, hunt, which is different. And virtually on every little village has a shooting hall, because the Germans do love to shoot. So you can join the community of shooters, and then you do it in a controlled space. And they love their little uniforms, and they really do, and they get all their little badges. So they absolutely oh, what do I like? Wow. Oh, dragons and fairies. Yeah, dragons and fairies. Well, there you can make me a fairy. When I was little, I wanted to just be a fairy with silver, gold, and copper wings when I grew up. Nothing more, nothing less. I didn't have a, yeah, and I didn't really play with dolls. I don't know if my parents. I mean, I had one doll, but I played mainly with animals. I had a lot of animals, and my mother. I did dress them. But I would play a lot of school, and I would set all my animals up around in a circle and teach them. But yeah, as I say, but we'll go into like how G.I. Joe was marketed. It really shocked me quite a bit, because it's very much how the world was. She's awesome. Just make her with silver, gold, and copper wings. Thank you. That would be beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I think the early Barbies is interesting. People, yeah, because people had very interesting thoughts about them. I love Peter Pan. They used to call me Peter Pan, and I used to take all the kids out. I'd take them camping. My two older children and their cousins, they were kind of Boy Scouts, and we would go to so many wild parks. Which the boys would take the boy tents, their Boy Scout tents, and we'd take our little tent, and yeah, we'd do like the campfire thing and lots of hiking and yeah, they were great days that I did with the kids. So yeah, my family, a lot of them, they used to call me Peter Pan, and my daughter was like Wendy. She was the girl, and she would kind of whip all these boys into shape and get them to do everything. I just allowed them to experience a lot of fun. Do you think Cowgirl Barbie black suits me? We don't have cowboys in South Africa or cowgirls. Interesting. Oh. But so let me just get into this quickly so that we can move on to how, why dolls. I also remember like I had I borrowed, it was a friend of mine. She had a very old vintage doll head, which was still like porcelain originally. It was like very, very old. And I was in like class 11 at school, whatever that is in America. It's the one, yeah. And for our art project, I drew the doll. But when you draw a doll, it's really totally macabre. And I borrowed it to take home, and then I was like looking at it and her beautiful silver hair. She was much more beautiful to look at than to draw. When you drew her, she became like really quite scary. And then I was looking at her a little bit more carefully, and I nearly dropped her because her hair was actually real hair, but with the scalp. Somebody, old granny. It was so gross. So yeah, dolls are kind of macabre. Um, a lot of old cultures are they don't really do the dolls. They'd rather just have a rag. You know. So So Barbie in the 20, she was also, she was part of this whole like plastic fantastic era, which was also, we didn't realize how dangerous and scary it was going to become. But she was the plastic avatar of the Venus, Ishtar, Aphrodite lineage because she was the Venusian glamour code: hair, face, beauty, adornment, creativity, and charm. She had the Ishtar independence. She chooses her clothes, her work, her world, her role. The Aphrodite magnetism. She is designed to attract attention, desire, aspiration, projection. Now, just the Shakti creative agency, she transforms through play, clothing, career, and narrative. And the American dream goddess, freedom, career, mobility, and self-invention. The plastic priestess. Plastic equals the material of transmutation. It's the modern alchemical substance, form, or without decay, shape without limits. Barbie is the immortal feminine form in a post-war world terrified of mortality. She is the woman who doesn't age, the woman who doesn't bleed, the woman who doesn't die, the woman who survives every story. She is literally the first digital age goddess before digital existed. Barbie is the synthetic Venus, the modern incarnation of the eternal feminine archetype. She is the safe version of the divine feminine for a traumatized Western psyche. Obviously, I said that I worked with Barbie when I taught English here to kids here in Germany, and I would show them pictures of Marilyn, and then I'd show them my Barbie, and they'd tell me that she was Marilyn, she was not Barbie, because obviously she looked exactly like Barbie. So also all our boys, and that was, as I said, I played with these boys, they had their GI Joes. So our boys love dressing dolls. And boys, in my experience, knowing boys growing up, no, I didn't grow up with boys, but boys were around me. I do love her. This was my best outfit for her. Millie Delaprito. Not a stable one. Okay, that's okay. Love to you all. Millie, I'm going to do it just for you. Let's see if I can find here quickly, because you weren't here the other day. But we're jumping into this in the middle, and it's quite heavy. And I'm just staying in the 60s. I'm not moving out of the 60s because Barbie has more history, and then she moves into, as you say, brat dolls and high school stuff, and yeah, it's all got out of hand. But it's just more about what the doll is and what the doll is in history. But here, let me just jump back here. First, originally, Barbie that's the original Barbie. She was called Lily, and she was first started off as a cartoon strip in the new newspaper called Die Bild. Das Bild, Der Bild, don't know. But she was like cheeky. She was like almost like a high class escort. She kind of went after men for money. She was quite a gold digger. She was really quite a sassy, sarcastic tart. And she wasn't sold in toy shops. She was sold in bars or in tobacconists as a bar toy, as a gag toy. And this is what she originally looked like. And then the American lady came over. She did have the idea to have this kind of Barbie type dress-up teenage doll for the career woman. I'm coming. Just wait a second. You can't go out again. I've just taken you out. You really have not accepted it. So anyway, she came over to Europe in 1958, and she saw this doll. But Mattel said that she wouldn't be marketable because they didn't think that, though she was part of Mattel, but they didn't think that mothers would buy like this teenage kind of doll. Anyway, when she came over to Europe, and she saw this doll in a tobacconist in Germany, and she said, "Oh, this is exactly what I want." So she bought it, and then she marketed it in America. She was launched then in 1958. These are Lily. And I can tell you that German women looked just like this in the 50s, with the blonde hair and the arched eyebrows. And then of course the Hong Kong version. So here on the left is Lily, and on the right is the first Barbie. Even the costume came from Lily. And then, obviously she was called Barbie. And the interesting thing is if you just look at the first advertisement, because we didn't have television. And she did suffice. She did actually create. She just changed. She didn't. That was my Barbie. That's the Barbie I had, which came out then in 1964, I think, which is just pure Marilyn. And then she changed again in that's Marilyn. And then she changed. That's how I got my Barbie. I didn't have the costume. The fashion, and those fashion packs go for a fortune, and they were just so amazing. And you could get, I know I had that one, and then there was style. My mother used to make clothes. My mother absolutely, most of my clothes my mother made, and she used to knit little jerseys. I think every magazine had patterns for Barbie clothes. But I played with her very much as this career woman, because my mother also worked pretty much full day, or good half day when I remember. And then, of course, so then she changed in 1968. So I definitely don't relate to that Barbie at all. So, but I was just saying how when we would play games, this was my favorite doll, but I didn't like the doll. I preferred Barbie. This was Mary Poppins, which I got after a visit to the dentist. But Mary Poppins is my movie. She was also one of the first marketing ploys of Walt Disney, merchandising. But I would go to, my mom had friends that had two sons. And first they stayed in the building downstairs from us, and then they moved up. But whenever we went to play with each other, they were around about my age. I can't remember if the one was a year younger than me and the other 2 years older than me. But I would always take my Barbie dolls, or they would come to me with their G.I. Joe. And they had all these wonderful dress-up packs. And G.I. Joe was apparently launched in 1964. That was the original G.I. Joe. Sorry, it's very small. But as I kind of worked through this, I was really quite horrified how G.I. Joe was marketed to the American, to the English public as well. I mean, we're talking here hugely, the programmed and wounded masculine. Yeah? So it kind of came about because of the Cold War and obviously the Vietnam War, and they glorified the soldier and glorified the weapons. I spoke to a couple of people, did you know, here in Germany, how they related to Barbie. Some are a bit younger than me, and they said, oh no, your Barbie was great, but they played with her with horses. They didn't have all the extra trappings. And Ken, they weren't sure about if anybody knew Ken. But G.I. Joe, they had no idea. And then I realized, all kinds of weapons were banned in Germany. Children aren't allowed to, can't buy toy weapons, which is a good thing. So the Germans actually produced Playmobil in 1974, which was amazing because I say boys love playing with dolls way more than girls do. They love to dress up. But this is like marketing this to your kids. So it was, and poor old Ken, he's so demasculated. Poor Ken. That was something else. So now I can't bear to have Ken up here right now. Yeah, so it's just to unearth and look at very quickly how we were programmed. Millie, if you're still there, did you have a Barbie doll? And it's just interesting to wonder how deep down the Barbie stuff you went, because it was really huge in America and still is. But it's just unpacking the feminine and the archetypes that she held, which was Venus, Ishtar, Aphrodite. So Barbie just carries all the core frequencies of them. So I just want to finish this off very quickly. And obviously being made out of plastic, which has got such different meanings. And she came out in that plastic fantastic era, which people didn't realize was going to be so crazy on the earth. Because plastic shapeshifts, preserves, doesn't decay. It can be molded infinitely. It is immortal in form, and it is the modern version of divine flesh. And at that time as well, which was with Marilyn and Andy Warhol started, the huge thing very much started in America. Well, actually, it was originally started in India. It was rhinoplasty. They would rebuild noses. But, okay, Yuki, we're going to go out now. But it was also Marilyn, Andy Warhol restructured Marilyn's face. He didn't do the plastic surgery, but he suggested the plastic surgery that she should have. So in ancient temples, statues of gods were carved in marble, bronze, jade, or gold. In the 20th century, had none of this in mass production. So the collective subconscious chose plastic as the medium to house its new goddess. Plastic is synthetic aliveness, and Barbie is the synthetic Venus. The body shape, obviously, so she had the small waist, the long legs, totally impossible, the high arched feet. I mean, shoes were wonderful. I mean, I did. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved my Barbie. I mean, I made clothes for her as well as I got older. She was really very, very special for me. And obviously that super Marilyn bust. And she was, oh, Yuki, I'm going to have to stop, which is a good thing. But I did just want to, maybe we'll jump into this another time. I just want, because we were talking so many goddesses. And Barbie can kind of be very, she became an astronaut, a CEO, a surgeon, a doctor, a pilot, a teacher, a vet, a president. She could be, they came in all the packs. But she wasn't really portrayed in the early days as a mother, a lover, a warrior, a priestess, the queen, the weaver, the destroyer, or the creator. And she always had this beautiful Barbie smile. She always looked fabulous. She was on show all the time. And she really did shape hugely the American, British, South African, Australian, the English-speaking Western world. Boom. I don't think so much Germany in the beginning. They were playing with Steif toys. They were playing. We've always had a lot of teddy bears and things that we've played with. But it just became this obsession with beauty, with perfectionism, the frozen emotions, the impossible body. It's endless, the problems that people have laid on Barbie. Now, I know that in a lot of African cultures, when they see the Barbie doll, African people in South Africa, they are horrified that this is what we give our kids to play with. Because, I'm going to have to go. They see her as dolls, are very, very powerful. They house ancestral spirits. They are fertility charms. They are spirit containers. They're not things to play with. You don't give them to your kids to play with. They're in deep reverence, yeah? So I am going to have to go because my dog is really jumping at the door. So as a doll, the living container, it can attract a spirit, hold an intention, be used in spellcraft, positive or negative, be mistakenly activated, be misused by someone with bad intentions. A realistic doll from their worldview resembles a fetish, a figure, an Nkisi Nkondi, which is a power figure, or your Hopi dolls, a spiritual vessel, a figure used for invocation. And they're stylized. The African dolls, all of the cultural dolls are stylized. They don't look like exact replications. And they're made by adults, not factories. They're handmade. And they're carved in wood or woven materials. They're symbolic rather than realistic. They're deliberately stylized, and they are always blessed and cleansed. And the Indians, of course, they love to play with their dolls. However, I love us all very much. So I do have to go. My dog is really dancing at the door and gonna get me very all upset out there. So I love and leave you. I'm talking spiders and weaving tomorrow, which is completely different to what most of us have, but it's more on what's happening out right here, right now. So I hope I'll see you tomorrow, because it's what I'm just seeing at the moment, or the awakening of more of the World Wide Web in so many different ways, and the interconnection and the unity and the communication between everything. So I love and love and love and leave you. I'm sorry for Yuki, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a most amazing and fabulous and wonderful day, and be strong, be peaceful, which is like finding it a little weird to talk about G.I. Joe at the moment. But yeah, that was a huge programming, especially for the American kids, American men. So I'm sure you can figure it out, as well as all the war movies that came out at that time. Hugely the wounded masculine. So I love, and for me, I think that the roles are actually reversed. Women are more warrior, and men are more pacifist in the natural order. Yeah, but there always are warriors, but not all are warriors. But this kind of made everybody a warrior. Anyway, I love us all so much, and just keep on being amazing, and just keep on jumping into the love, the light, and the tears. So beautiful transformation. Just keep going, everybody. Love, and be your own personal goddess, or your own personal Jesus.